What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here to do some technical analysis on the S&P 500. We're going to be looking at the daily time frame, the 30-minute time frame. Now, if it's your first time here at this channel, I do these S&P 500 technical analysis updates daily, Monday through Friday, and I also have other videos like my weekly watch list, the weekly scan series every Saturday, so that'll be coming out tomorrow. Keep an eye out on that. Let's go ahead and hop into today's show. If you watched yesterday's video, you heard me talk about the potential of a launch pad setting up, and it definitely took off today on the so-called best job gains in history. We are number one. Donald Trump tweeted this today. A huge 2.5 million monthly job gains reported, better than expected. However, is this something that we can truly believe? Unemployment rate is still mid 13 to 14%. And there were some interesting calculations as to how the jobs report is calculated during this COVID-19 pandemic. If you notice down here, it says the overall unemployment rate would have been about 3 percentage points higher than reported. So really, we're looking at about a 16% unemployment rate right now, which is worse than the Great Depression. So, is this something to celebrate? Well, the stock market definitely celebrated this news, but they also celebrated the news when there was 40 million people unemployed. I don't know. Confusing. Oh, and let's not forget about this tweet from Donald Trump in 2013 talking about how the census workers cooked the job numbers for Obama right before the election. Interesting. We're about to run up to election right now. Are these numbers cooked? I don't know. I'm not that smart. Let's go ahead and hop into the technicals. All right, we are here on the daily time frame. This red box here, we've been calling the bear's camp, and the last two videos talked about it cutting through butter and then potentially being a pullback area with this day or a setup for a launch pad. Now look at how the market reacted, just gapped over it and pushed higher and higher throughout the day, which we'll talk about the intraday trading here on the 30-minute time frame soon enough. But now we got to go ahead and create a new bear's camp because the bulls destroyed this one. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it there, and I'm going to go ahead and draw out a new bear camp. Where is the next area of resistance to watch out for? As I see it right now, it doesn't seem like there has to be any area to watch out for just because of how the stock market was moving. But we're going to go ahead and just stick to the technicals here and really map out where we might see that resistance. And here is the big area that I'm going to be pointing out. It's going to be right here is going to be the new bear's camp moving forward. And let me tell you why. There's multiple areas within this box that act as resistance because they also acted as support. So for example, as you can see back here, it acted as resistance, and then when it broke above it, it came back to retest it and kind of had some trouble right throughout this area. And notice on the big gap down from here when the market really started moving downwards, this was the area at where it tested. So there is somewhat of a window to be closed right within these areas. It acted as resistance here on this line, support, and then it acted as support again, and the market decided that this level is going to be gapped down. So this right here is going to be an interesting window for the stock market to come in to close. And the reason why the box goes a little bit higher after that point is because that's the market high, and that will act as somewhat of a double top, or we will just move through it. Depends on what we see as far as price action going into the next few weeks. I mean, for all we know, we can just see one big green candle just shoot through all of this. I doubt that that's going to be the actual case that happens, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is the new bear camp. And I definitely think that it's possible that we can get some action within this camp. To determine what happens after this, we're going to need a little bit more time. So let's go ahead and hop into the 30-minute time frame to get a good sense as to what intraday support and resistance areas look like moving forward. Okay, I just wanted to really quickly point out what we talked about yesterday as far as resistance and support goes. So I was recording this video before the day closed, and it looked like we had that nice big pop up towards the end, which would have made this line the 3100, which was a very interesting level of resistance, now support. Now, the price is way up here, so we don't need to think of this as a support or resistance at the moment now because the price action is all the way up here. We had it somewhat launch off today, so I just wanted to point out that that's what we talked about yesterday. And we also had this area down here, which we were calling the window fill, and we discussed that. So go ahead and delete those two here. Now what we're going to be looking at is the new window that took place as far as supports and resistance. The first portion is this line right here, was resistance. And instead of the market going to test the resistance to break through, the market just said, the hell with it, I'm gapping up. So it gapped up, and now it is now a new area of support. Really, you can actually call it all the way down here as the level of support. That is totally fine as well. And the reason why I say that is because it acted as support through here, 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 then it acted as resistance, and then instead of getting through it to try out the top, it just gapped and cleared it completely all the way up here. So really, this window is going to be the window that we're going to be keeping an eye on as the area of support. Now, if the price action tomorrow can come in and close, or not even close, but get below here, this 3170 level, we can see the price move back to retest this area to potentially move higher. Keep an eye out for that. And the reason why is if it does start continuing to kind of work itself downwards in this direction without breaking out, then we can see that push to this level. Now, this is going to be a strong area of support because that is where it gapped up. This is something very similar to happen to the Disney stock. Disney stock had this where it came back, retested it, and moved higher and higher. And I called that out, and I said also set an alert if it were to come down and reach to this level. That was on the weekly scan if you didn't watch it. We can also see the price action break above this trend line and move higher. That is going to be the resistant area that we're going to have to keep an eye on. It's kind of like this little trend. Now, you could technically make it to be straight like this. That is totally fine, and you can move it down a little bit. That could be your area of resistance as well, and that is right out at 3206. We can call it 3200. That's fine. Let's just call it 3200. But you could be. It's like a little bit of a zone. So really, the resistance is 3200 up to 3206, and then your support is going to be at 3170. And then 3113. Those are the two areas. Now you can, like I said, you can have your support up here a little bit higher. That's totally fine because it was resistance at this point. And you also have the 50-day period moving average right here. So your window could be this length as well. That is totally fine. But these are going to be the areas of support and resistance going forward. So what happens if the price action does get above this resistance? Well, this will then turn into support. And then we'd have to look at our next area, which is going to be the bottom of our bear camp. And that is 3264 is going to be the next area of resistance. This stock market is blasting. It has been moving pretty well. Now, keep in mind that it did break out of the bear's camp, but there's typically what you can see is once you see a breakout of a main area, you can see a back test. So it's very likely that we see some sort of a back test take place. But with all this euphoria in the marketplace with certain stocks making 100% gains, 50, 60, 70% gains kind of normal in just a short period of time, there's a lot of euphoria which might bring in more money into the stock market to price it up a little bit higher. But this going forward is going to be the resistance and support levels to keep an eye on going into on Monday's next week of trading. All right, everybody, that's all I have for you for the S&P 500 technical analysis update today. Hope you guys all have a great and safe weekend. If you haven't done so already and subscribed to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. We just reached 8,000 subscribers in relatively a short period of time. So thank you to everybody that comments, likes, and gives me feedback. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. I will see you on Saturday with the weekly scan, and then back with these S&P 500 videos on Monday. See you later.